Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a bit of a detour, looking past all the tech talk, really diving into the human side of cybersecurity.
Yeah, exactly. And if you use technology, I mean, who doesn't, right? This
Right.
applies directly to you, to your life.
Right. So we're digging into some key source material today.
We are, yeah. Pulling a lot from cybersecurity for everyone. And its mission is really clear.
Hmm.
It wants to, inspire people, not bury them in jargon or confusion.
Okay.
The big problem, the source material really hammers this home, is that the security field always seems to start with the what and the how. The firewalls, the acronyms, all the patching.
All the technical stuff. So if that's not the starting point, what is? According to the
Yeah.
source, what should we be focusing on?
It's got to be the why. Why does this actually matter? And it comes down to these really fundamental human values, saving people, protecting your family, serving the greater good.
Connecting it back.
Exactly. If you don't frame security around those shared goals, those inspirational things, well, you just don't motivate anyone to actually change their behavior. It just feels like another chore.
Which brings us right to this core idea, this premise that kind of drives our whole conversation today.
Yeah.
That everyone, you listening right now, in your personal life or, at work, you're either the weakest link or you can be the strongest defense.
That's it.
Yeah.
Security isn't some separate IT thing anymore.
Right. It needs to be embedded in our habits, in how society functions.
It's really about taking some responsibility for your own digital safety, your digital life.
Okay, so let's jump into the barriers then. If the stakes are really that high, why are we constantly seeing these headlines? Massive breaches, often down to simple human mistakes.
Yeah.
Our sources point out some really common mental roadblocks. What's the big one, the one that feeds that it's too technical for me feeling?
Well, the source material calls out this core lie, this big misconception. Cybersecurity is rocket science. And they trace this back to what psychologists call a fixed mindset. It's this fear of failure, basically. People think it's super complex, so they're afraid to even try to learn about it.
And that makes them easy targets.
Incredibly easy targets.
Yeah.
If you think it's too hard, you just disengage. You don't pay attention.
Okay, but you're saying it isn't rocket science. So how should we think about it? How do we make it feel approachable?
The source uses a good analogy, comparing security to the medical field. Think about it. Not everyone in healthcare is a brain surgeon, right?
Right, of course not.
You've got nurses, therapists, receptionists, administrators, tons of people, all contributing to the goal of good health. Cybersecurity is the same idea.
Okay.
Everyone plays a part in good cyber hygiene. You don't need to be coding malware defenses. It's more about small, consistent actions.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like wearing a seatbelt.
Oh.
Or putting on a helmet when you bike,
Uh-huh.
getting your car serviced regularly. They're just safety habits, not massive technical challenges.
That makes sense. Basic precautions. But what about at the higher levels? In companies, I imagine CFOs, executives, they hear cyber risk and maybe still think IT cost center.
That's a dangerous misconception.
Why isn't it seen as this existential threat the sources claim it is?
It often comes down to that outdated idea. Cybersecurity is not a business function,
Oh.
but the sources are really clear on this. That mindset is it's dangerous now.
Okay.
Cyber risk needs to be right up there with climate change, AI misinformation, political instability. It's a fundamental business threat.
An existential threat.
Absolutely. And negligence here, it has huge consequences. Cleanup costs get passed to consumers. That fuels inflation. And the sources even mention that executive negligence could potentially cross into, criminal liability, holding leaders personally responsible.
Wow. Okay, so the real hurdle isn't necessarily the technology itself. It's more this human fear, this avoidance, and this widespread belief that, it's not my problem.
Precisely. If we can just get past that fixed mindset, that fear, then we stop being the weakest link. We actually become the strongest defense.
Okay, so maybe that social responsibility isn't enough for everyone. Let's talk cold, hard cash, the financial stakes. Because the status quo, it's not looking good.
No, it really isn't. We are losing ground. We're losing big.
So give us the numbers. Anchor this for us.
Now, let's look at the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, the IC3. In 2023, they got a record number of complaints, over 880,000.
Wow.
And the potential losses, over $12.5 billion.
Jillian, with a B.
With a B. And that's a 22% jump in losses just from the year before.
Where's that money going? What are the biggest scams?
The costliest categories were investment fraud. That was about $4.6 billion, and business email compromise, or BEC, which hit $2.9 billion. money flowing straight to criminals.
$12.5 billion. It's just a staggering number. Are companies getting any better at defending against this, or are the attackers just getting faster?
The data suggests the attackers are accelerating. Quickly, CrowdStrike's 2024 report. They saw a massive 60% year-over-year increase in what they call interactive intrusions, meaning actual humans, hands on keyboard, actively breaking into systems, not just automated attacks. And they speed things up by just buying stolen login details.
Buying credentials.
Yeah, from access brokers on the dark web. Sometimes for just a few $100, it lets them bypass a lot of initial defenses.
And ransomware is still a big piece of this puzzle, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. The Verizon DBIR, that's their big data breach investigations report for 2024, showed ransomware or some kind of extortion was involved in almost a third, 32% of all breaches.
And the cleanup.
Astronomical.
Yeah.
IBM's 2024 numbers put the average cost of a single data breach at $4.88 million. That's the highest it's been since the pandemic started.
Which leads to a kind of obvious question. If the need is so critical and the costs are so high, why do we keep hearing about this cybersecurity talent gap? Why are companies struggling to hire people?
This is where our sources talk about man-made systems gaps. Meaning we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. We create these unrealistic job postings looking for security unicorns, people who supposedly know everything, which, nobody does.
Right.
And then you add in the lack of real executive support. Not enough funding for HR, not enough for security training. The system often treats people like a cost to be cut, instead of seeing them as the vital human defense layer they actually are.
Okay, let's bring this threat right down to the personal level. That $12.5 billion. How does that translate to risk for, you listening or your family? Who are the criminals really targeting?
They prey on vulnerability. So the elderly are huge targets, especially in financial scams. One FBI report, nearly half the people complaining about tech support scams were over 60. And that group lost almost 60% of the total money stolen in those scams.
Devastating.
It is. And for children, the risks are just terrifying. Sextortion, human trafficking, these are exploding, often linked directly to how kids use social media, maybe unsafely.
And this really hinges on that idea you mentioned. Your data is not yours, especially with free services.
Absolutely. If the product is free online, you are the product. Your behavior, your preferences, your data. It's all collected, packaged up, and sold.
Sold to who?
Advertisers, sure, but also data brokers. These companies you've probably never heard of build incredibly detailed profiles on millions of people, and sometimes they get breached.
Like the example in the source.
Yeah, National Public Data, a data broker. They had a breach that lost 300 million Social Security numbers and other PII.
Okay, hold on. PII, remind us what that is exactly.
Right. PII is personally identifiable information. It's the crown jewels. Your name, address, birth date, Social Security number, all the stuff identity thieves need.
And if 300 million records go missing from one broker?
You have to assume your PII is already out there. It's likely been compromised in some breach somewhere.
Which makes us vulnerable to social engineering. Not tech hacks, but people hacks.
Exactly. This is where they use psychology, not code. They use proven persuasion techniques. Robert Cialdini's principles are often mentioned. Reciprocity, scarcity, authority.
Making things seem urgent or like they're from someone important.
Yeah, playing on fear, uncertainty, doubt, FUD they call it. Or the opposite. FOMO, the fear of missing out. Think about sophisticated scams like pig butchering.
What's that?
That often happens in online dating. They build trust over weeks or months, then lure the victim into these fake cryptocurrency investments. People lose their life savings. It's brutal, pure psychological manipulation.
And the sources argue this isn't just about individual financial loss. There are bigger global consequences.
They make a really strong connection, yeah. The argument is that the billions generated from things like ransomware don't just vanish. They often fund, let's say, autocratic regimes and their agendas.
Really?
The sources point to examples like funds potentially supporting conflict zones, maybe like in Ukraine. The point is, cybercrime isn't isolated. It can be part of a bigger playbook, threatening stability, threatening freedom.
Wow. That definitely raises the stakes. It makes individual action feel much more significant.
It is. It's a fight for your own free will, really.
Okay, so let's pivot. We understand the problem, the stakes, the manipulation. What can we do? Let's talk about the Cyberhero Toolkit. Simple, practical stuff. You mentioned starting with a zero-trust mindset. What does that actually mean day to day?
Zero trust basically means you operate assuming a breach is inevitable. It's not if, but when someone gets hacked. So you trust nothing by default and verify everything.
Trust nothing, verify everything.
Right. Because you assume your identity or your device will get compromised eventually. You set up layers of defense beforehand to limit the damage when it happens.
Sounds kind of intense, but necessary. Okay, tool number 1 in the kit.
First, and honestly, probably most critical, get a password manager. Stop trying to invent and remember unique, long, complex passwords for every single website. It's impossible.
Use a manager like Bitwarden, 1Password.
Exactly. Bitwarden, 1Password, Dashlane. There's several good ones. And you secure the manager itself with one super strong passphrase.
Okay, define strong passphrase. Like, give us an example from the source.
The source gives a good one. In 2023, my dog ate my donut. It needs to be long at least 12 characters, ideally more. Mix uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols.
In 2023, my dog ate my donut. Okay, I like that. It's memorable for you, but gibberish to a computer trying to guess it.
Precisely. Memorable, but complex.
Although, now I feel like knowing my dog's questionable eating habits is the first step in socially engineering me.
Chuckles slightly, maybe.
Okay.
But all right, next up, two-factor authentication, or 2FA. We hear about it all the time. What's the best way to do it? Okay, the key thing here is move away from SMS-based 2FA if you can. Text messages can be intercepted, or your SIM card can be swapped.
Right. So what's better?
Use authenticator apps like Microsoft Authenticator, Google Authenticator, Authy. There are plenty. They generate codes on your device. Or, for your most critical accounts bank, email consider a physical security key.
Like the YubiKey.
Exactly like a YubiKey. It's literally a physical key you plug in or tap. It's super secure.
And looking ahead, the industry's even trying to get rid of passwords altogether, right? With passwordless tech.
That's the goal. It's driven by the FIDO standard, that's fast identity online. They developed passkeys.
How do you work?
Basically, instead of a password, your device manages cryptographic keys. You log in using your device, often secured with your fingerprint or face scan. No password to steal. Microsoft is pushing this hard, aiming for 1 billion users on passkeys. It's happening now.
Okay, password manager. Strong 2FA or passkeys. But you mentioned PII being compromised. Is there one immediate thing everyone should do, like today?
Yes, absolutely. Freeze your credit now.
Why?
Because, as we said, you must assume your PII, social security number, etc., is already out there on the dark web from some breach. Freezing your credit reports with the main bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, is the single best defense against someone opening fraudulent accounts in your name and wrecking your credit score.
Okay, freeze credit. Got it. What about just general privacy hygiene? Quick tips.
Yeah, simple stuff. Turn off location services on apps that don't absolutely need it. Delete apps you're not using anymore. When apps ask to track you across other apps and websites, deny it.
Good habits. And one final rule for dodging those increasingly convincing scams, especially with deepfakes and voice cloning coming.
Yes, the double-check rule. Super important. If you get any urgent message, email, text, even a phone call that sounds exactly like someone you know asking for money or sensitive info,
Stop.
Stop, hang up, or ignore the message. Then call the person directly on a phone number you already have saved for them, a trusted number that bypasses any deepfake or voice clone. You confirm if the request is real through a channel you control. It's critical thinking in action.
Okay. That's a solid toolkit.
So let's just summarize quickly. The core message is, you matter. Your actions matter. Cybersecurity isn't about becoming some tech genius. It's about protecting your own freedom, your own free will from people trying to scam you, steal from you, or manipulate you, whether that's small-time criminals or, bigger global actors.
Right. We are genuinely all in this together. And the sources emphasize this downward spiral isn't inevitable. We can change the trajectory. So here's that final provocative thought for you to chew on, building directly on that economic impact we discussed.
Okay.
Cybercrime losses hit over $12.5 billion in just 1 year, 2023. Imagine the tangible impact, the good we could do if every single one of us adopted just these basic security habits we talked about. What if we could claw back even just 10% of that $12.5 billion drain? What could that money do if it went back into our communities, into education, into strengthening democracy instead of funding crime?
It's a really powerful question because that's a lot of potential positive impact just waiting to be unlocked. It really puts the call to action into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. The message is clear. Be part of the solution. Join the cyber hero squad, as the source puts it. Use those durable skills we all have, critical thinking, good communication, a willingness to learn and secure your own digital world.